Where ISIS takes over, life changes. This organization has a history of abducting and killing doctors, academics, and journalists. Amnesty has detailed the arbitrary executions and torture ordered by Islamic courts of ISIS, including a man who was beheaded for making a joke. Well, ISIS has been even disowned by the group that spawned it, Al-Qaeda, with the terrorist outfit criticizing it for being too violent towards the people it conquered. Well, ISIS is now considered the most powerful military force in northern Syria, and that's driven its success across the border into Iraq. Well, it swept through Anbar province, claiming Fallujah and Ramadi, freeing 500 radical sympathizers from the notorious prison in Abu Ghraib, only 40 kilometers from Baghdad. Well, now the conquest of Mosul pushes the group's influence into the north. As well as local recruits, ISIS fighters come from as far afield as Morocco and Chechnya.
Iraq will soon be coming here to the United States.
The seeds of 9/11s are being planted all over Iraq and Syria. You don't have to believe me. This is what they're telling you they're going to do.
I am concerned, and I think all Americans should be concerned. I guarantee you this is a problem that we will have to face. We're either going to face it in New York City or we're going to face it here. Well, that is pretty scary. With more on the threat, Peter Johnson Jr. joins us live.
Yeah, good morning, Steve. And I think all we have to do is look at the words of Colonel Kenneth King, who's the former commander at Camp Bucca prison in Iraq. Let's see his experience. And that's the fear coming to a city, including New York, as a result of what they're doing. It's important to understand who al-Baghdadi is. He's got a PhD in Islamic studies from Baghdad University. He's considered one of the most brutal leaders in the world now. His nickname is the Invisible Sheikh. He was detained at Camp Bucca, as you know, and then pushed out of Al-Qaeda in 2013. And now we know that there's a $10 million bounty for his death or capture. Eerily similar and perceived by many of the Al-Qaeda and former Al-Qaeda forces, including the people at ISIS, as the logical successor to Osama bin Laden. And a lot of foreign policy experts are saying that the similarities are too eerie and too disturbing in terms of the way that Afghanistan was going in the 1990s to the way that Iraq is now proceeding in 2014. We only have to look at the radio address that al-Baghdadi gave last January. This is disturbing. He said, our last message is to the American...
Okay, I'm not going to play anymore. I want you to hear that a little bit. So who is ISIS? ISIS equals CIA. United States government. CIA, secret intelligence. Okay, that's who ISIS is. You know, I did a reply to Carol yesterday, and I showed you ISIS's website right here. Okay. And at first I was like, who are they? Another little group, another organization like Blackwater. But the more I looked, and the more I see. So then I picked these two short clips to show you. I'm not going to play them all, but I'll leave the links to everything and the more for you, okay? And this is the web page I showed you yesterday. So let's go here first, where I showed you yesterday, okay, where they're awarded contracts, okay? So we'll go here and read more on the contracts that they were awarded, like you did yesterday, but we ain't going to stay here long. I'm going to zip down here, and I'm going to show you something. Contracts awarded to ISIS, U.S. Department of Defense, Joint Interruptionally Testing Command, okay? U.S. Army, okay? So now we know that the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Army's involved with ISIS. Now let's go to contracts. Contracts. Washington, D.C. Hey, look at here, Ronald Reagan Building. 1300 Pennsylvania Avenue, Suite 700, Washington, D.C. Phone number even. Seattle, Washington, USA. So here's ISIS right here for you. Sierra Vista, Arizona, USA. Okay, here's another ISIS location. Do you see what I'm seeing here, people? Virginia, ISIS, 8300 Granboro Drive, Suite 800. And a phone number again. So here's ISIS for you. What do these news reports tell you? Okay, this news report here, what's it telling you? What's this one here telling you? It's telling you wrote and scripted stories that are complete lies. The only thing they said in here that would be accurate is they said scare, okay, danger.
Soon we will be in direct confrontation, and the Sons of Islam have.
This is another scare tactic. What they've done is they've created another bin Laden. That's what they've done. They've created another boogeyman to keep their phony war on terrorism going. That's right. And the story Carol Redjet was reading in her video reply that I made would be another scripted story. Just like these are scripted stories that they're feeding to the public to scare the hell out of you. This is a scripted story. You see how they're trying to make it sound like it's a terrorist group from another country in this book, in this here report? I mean, come on, listen to it.
This organization has a history of abducting and killing doctors, academics, and journalists. Amnesty has detailed the arbitrary executions and torture ordered by Islamic courts of ISIS, including a man who was beheaded for making a joke.
You see this? Do you hear what they're saying? They're making it sound like it's a terrorist group from another country. That's what this report's making it sound like. Okay? This one here.
Prepared for such a day, so watch, for we are with you watching.
It's all scary about this. So that's the guy who's running ISIS right now.
Yes.
See, right here, the same thing. This is all complete lies. This is propaganda. This is propaganda, lies, written stories, scripts, Hollywood acts. There's no truth to it. This is a written story, script, Hollywood act. No truth to it. The real truth is ISIS is CIA. Al-Qaeda was CIA. That's right. Why do you think they have local branches right here in the United States? Because it's the CIA. It's your own damn government. Your own damn government and the CIA is behind all of this. They're feeding you propaganda again to scare the hell out of you. Will there be an attack again on New York City? I ain't going to say there won't or will. But if there is, you can be guaranteed that you need to look at Washington, D.C. It won't be some freaking group from out of the country like this report says. It'll be from within your own country again, your own damn government, one more time. If an attack happens on any of the states, and they claim it was ISIS that did it, then you know it was the United States government and the CIA who done it. You know, the war on propaganda needs to start. How we sit back and we allow them to make it legal to lie to the public. How we sit back and make it just all fine and dandy to make up propaganda stories up the yin-yang with no truth to it and keep feeding it to the public, lying their asses off to scare the hell out of the public. That's exactly what they're doing. And then they will attack the public again just like they did with 9/11, and it'll be your own government orchestrating it. So they can kill more of their own people, blame it on a phony enemy to keep their fake war on terrorism going for their own selfish greed and gain. When are the people in this country, are they ever going to grow some gonads and some balls and some clits and man up and woman up and stand up for themselves and put a stop to this shit? But I do have an idea. Since it's legal to feed us propaganda, then I think we should fight fire with fire. My suggestion would be to people up here on YouTube, people in other blogs, people all over the place here in the United States, since you want to make it legal to feed propaganda to us, every time something happens, like there was another shooting. That's right. On MSNBC today, I seen another report of another shooting. So I think what we should do now is we should flip the propaganda back around. And we should use the propaganda back on them. So anytime something happens, we come up and we make phony propaganda reports and we claim that a CNN anchor or an ABC anchor or an MSNBC anchor, somebody that works there, is responsible for this here shooting or responsible for this here explosion. That's right. And we make a fake news report. And we point at them and accuse them of the tragic thing that just took place. flip their propaganda back around on them. Now, when these anchors like Bill Anderson or CIA Anderson Cooper at CNN, when he becomes the target and his name's put out there as possible terrorist, a lone shooter that works at CNN News, Anderson Cooper, and he gets pissed off because it's going all over the net that he done this when he knows he didn't, just remember this. It's propaganda, remember? Propaganda's legal now, remember? But of course, behind your phony news reports saying they've done this, always make sure in the title it clearly says propaganda. Propaganda's legal. They want to use it on us, so we should use it on them. Fight fire with fire. Now, they may get pissed off at what we're doing if people do this, but let them get pissed off. What needs to happen is we need to stand up and we need to put these politicians and this criminal government, take them out, put them behind bars. We don't need a government anyhow. Seriously. Like a military. Why do you need a military? Oh, we're to defend ourselves. Defend yourself against what? Your inability to grow up? Is that what you're defending yourself against? Your inability to grow the hell up? Because that's what it has to be. Because you wouldn't need an army. No country would need an army if you grew up. The only reason this world's in the shape it's in right now is because us, the people, allow it to be. We don't have to live in a society like this if we choose not to. But it's obvious you people love to choose your own death and your own tyranny because you failed to grow up. So when you're criticizing your children about growing up, maybe you should look in the mirror and see if you really grew up. But anyhow, after seeing these reports and in examining ISIS a little further, it's plain and clear that ISIS don't exist. ISIS belongs to the CIA. ISIS is the CIA. ISIS equals CIA. ISIS equals United States government. It don't equal some terrorist group in another country. It equals United States government and CIA. And if anything goes down in this country and they point their finger at ISIS, just remember what you're seeing right here. Washington, D.C., ISIS, Ronald Reagan Building. 1300 Pennsylvania Avenue, Suite 700. ISIS. Festus, Arizona, USA. Remember what you're seeing here. When they point their fingers at ISIS, you remember what you're seeing right here. They're telling you who they are right in your face. And they're counting on your ignorance and stupidity to believe their bullshit stories. That's what they're counting on. And they put it all in your face. You know, the one thing that the powers to be always bragged is that they would tell us what they're doing, and then they would do it, and we would do nothing about it. And so far, that's exactly what they've done. And here they are, telling you who ISIS really is, right in your face. ISIS is the CIA and the United States government. Wake up.